You know how the right is about small government and not getting government involved in stuff unless it's absolutely necessary? Well, it turns out that's not really true. Multiple Republicans are now demanding hearings over DirecTV dropping the right-wing channel Newsmax. Now, if you didn't hear about this, what happened is as follows. Companies exist that make decisions. One of those companies is DirecTV. The David Pakman Show is on DirecTV. We're on a channel called Free Speech TV. I believe it's channel 348 on DirecTV, although it might be 9415, and we're on 348 on Dish. I don't remember. Anyway, we're on DirecTV on Free Speech TV. DirecTV could decide we don't want Free Speech TV anymore. They could decide that for any reason. They could decide that because Free Speech TV is left-wing or because they don't like my face or whatever, right? The DirecTV could decide that. They're a company that can make decisions as long as those decisions are not illegal based on some narrow regulation that exists. Well, DirecTV is deciding they're going to drop Newsmax. Now, why are they doing it? I don't know. Is it because Newsmax is right-wing? Maybe. That would be their right. Is it because people aren't watching Newsmax on DirecTV? Maybe. Is it because they want to replace it with Golf Channel number 7? Maybe. They can do that. And this is a private business making a business decision. The way Republicans always say is what should happen. Not anymore. Let's start with our first clip. Here is Senator Rick Scott saying we need congressional hearings into this. By the way, do you realize what's going on with healthcare and climate and education and the debt ceiling? And this is what we need congressional hearings about.
And if anyone knows how to balance a budget, it's you. You were the governor of Florida for quite some time. And so I know that the House will be thankful to have you help them with ideas. I do want to ask you about this. We've had about 40 of your colleagues in the House send a letter to AT&T and Direct warning of hearings and demanding to know why conservative platforms like ourselves are being censored and pushed off of their lineup. What would you say to that? And are there efforts in the Senate to try to dig into why they're censoring conservatives?
Absolutely. We've got to get to the bottom of this. This censorship by companies like AT&T of conservative voices, what Google does, what Facebook does.
Remember, so, God, these people. This is called the fire hose of falsehoods. It's not censorship for companies to decide what channels they want to carry. Sometimes I might like the decisions and sometimes I might not. It is not censorship. Secondly, we just had a study that revealed the claims about Google's bias are untrue. There have been studies about Facebook's bias, and it found actually conservative political content is usually the best performing stuff on Facebook. He just squeezed 3 lies into 5 seconds, and people watch this stuff and they go, he's probably right, you know.
Well, you watch, what Elon Musk has put out about what Twitter did. This has got to stop. So we need to hold hearings here. We need to get to the bottom of this. I'm going to do everything I can. They already got rid of another conservative network earlier, or sometime last year. Now Newsmax. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to shut down our voices. And we've got to fight for this. The American public have to show up. So if you're watching, call AT&T. Say,
you can call AT&T and tell them you want Newsmax. Absolutely, you can do that. But congressional hearings, using the power of government to investigate cable lineups, satellite TV lineups, Congressman Michael Waltz says there should be congressional hearings as well.
41 members of Congress have signed this. I've got it right here. Letter to DirecTV calling on them to address this. Your name is on that list. Where does that go from here? Something like a letter like this that you send to the people that run DirecTV and AT&T. What happens after that?
Well, we have a number of questions in that letter that we'll demand answers for. It could go so far as to have their executives come to talk to us and explain this to us.
Why did you get rid of the show? Is it because you don't like the look of Sean Spicer's suits on Newsmax? Tell us the truth.
In terms of both the timing and the intent, and it could go as far as
the timing doesn't matter and the intent doesn't matter. They are free to decide what channels to have.
Having public hearings.
Wow.
But I think the public hearings should be part of this broader effort and from the left to essentially snap everybody in line with their view, their way of thinking, or you can't get access to anything you need to actually function as a company or a business.
Yeah. Listen, as you can tell, Republicans taking over the House has immediately put them laser focused on the issues most important to the American people. Oh, wait, no, it's actually not. Here's one more. Here's Congressman Jeff Van Drew saying we need to do hearings before there aren't any conservative voices left.
No question about it. And it's not self-indulgent, because the bottom line is,
what he means is it is self-indulgent.
What this country is about is freedom of ideas, freedom of vision.
Which applies to DirecTV. DirecTV has freedom of ideas to determine what they want on their network. DirecTV has freedom of vision to determine how they want their network to play out.
Freedom of discussion, freedom of speech. And I would be angry if they were strictly doing that to a liberal.
Sure you would.
Group of people, or a liberal, magazine, or a liberal newspaper, or anybody that represented one side or the other. The point is, we should be able to have our viewpoints, and they should be able to be expressed. In this particular case, it's real obvious something's wrong, because there are stations that are on DirecTV that don't do as well as you. There are stations that are on DirecTV that don't.
It sounds like the Republican here is saying DirecTV should use the metrics he thinks should be used to decide. Why does DirecTV have to decide about channel lineups based on what is most viewed? That's for the government to tell DirecTV that's how you have to decide is extraordinary overreach. I can't even continue with this nonsense because it's so crazy. Listen to the bottom line of what's going on here. They claim that they are against government regulation. They don't want government overreaching. Government should stay out of stuff unless absolutely necessary. Except all of a sudden they want government to force Twitter to publish COVID disinformation. And all of a sudden they want government to direct the conversations and decisions made by doctors and women in medical settings about abortion. And they want government to decide what types of sex are legal, talking about sodomy laws here, the way Ken Paxton recently said would be completely defensible in Texas for Texas to do. They love the free market until the free market dumps them. DirecTV wants to dump Newsmax, and they can do that. Will this fix inflation? No. They claim that that's a real issue, which, by the way, has been coming down for months. Will this fix the issue of the debt or whatever else, all this stuff? Will anyone get health care as a result of this? Of course not. These people are pathetic and they are dangerous. And this is the type of stuff, unfortunately, many Republicans have elected them to do. They want them doing this sort of thing. It's sad, but it is not altogether surprising.